I don't have any fizz left.
You're a traitor. There comes Alan coming. One of you must go and we'll see you later. You're a traitor.
Faithful.
Hello, all you faithfuls. We are here in the Tally the Votes Tower to indulge ourselves just one more time. We're going to discuss the Traitors Season 3 finale and reunion. And to help me send this season into the streaming abyss is the ferryman, the gentleman, the talisman of the turret, that tall drink of Appalachian water, our friend Brian.
Hey, I am so happy to be here for the finale, and I'm glad we've all dressed up for the reunion show. I look forward to seeing you guys.
We are dressed to the nines. Thank you very much to all of those who are only hearing the sweet sounds of our voice. Your eyes are missing out on a feast. We are dressed up. I'll tell you what, from the waist up, we are dressed up.
Yeah, I was like, told my husband, I'm like, we can still wear jeans on the bottom.
Exactly.
We are COVID Zoom fabulous.
I feel like a teleworker right now, honestly.
Now, no castle.
Well, no, I'm actually working, so maybe not. Oh, sorry.
No castle can be a real haunt of the rich and the famous without its spectral apparitions. Our Midwest maiden may not be a ghost, but she truly is a vision. The fair, the faithful, the fae of the forest. It's our friend Christy.
What is up, people of the castle? I got a little ghost cat here, Mike.
You know what? The way you look tonight, I have a good feeling Prohibition's going to end one of these days.
I hope so.
Oh, it's ended in Florida already, I assure you.
Now, guys, fairy tales have many creatures, from friendly fawn to formidable foe. And in Scotland, there's nothing more precious to the lords and the ladies than the noble unicorn. But if one were brave, if one could muster a dare, if one's courage wouldn't fail, and they would lift that unicorn's tail, they would find themselves face to face with a real horse's ass. Hi, David.
I got to give it up. That's just the best one ever.
I kid. You're a noble steed. It's just for funsies.
So when I thought, like, she's going to compare him to a unicorn, and then, the tail.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Hey, you know what? For a second, I just want to.
Well, I thought she was going to go with the horse's butthole, so I was kind of happy.
I thought so too. Jamie, I just want to say, like, you have had amazing introductions this season, so thank you for that. It was a lot of work, and they're really cute, and they make me feel good every week. So thank you.
It's lovely to have a moment to indulge in my dorkiness. So
I'm here for it.
Well, guys, we made it after the longest commercial break ever. Brittany finally flips her board. And what we get is pretty damn glorious. What were your reactions?
I knew it.
I knew it.
I don't think you all knew it, but
I said it last week. We can rewind.
Was our prediction?
I didn't know it. I was surprised.
But I'll just say that I said maybe an expletive or two, and I was pumped.
Yeah. I was pretty excited.
Pretty good.
It felt like, I don't know, like one of those sports ball moments for me. I was rah-rah-rahing. I was so excited.
It was pretty great.
I actually pointed at the TV and yelled out effing right, go girl. My wife was like, what are you watching?
What is this? You're very involved.
But then you guys, as soon as we were like, right while we were still celebrating, like, Danielle had to ruin it by just being a brat, just being like a poor loser. And
yeah, she did like the opposite of the like, F you, you're cool, I'm out.
Mm.
You know, it was the like, I love all of you except for you.
And here's the thing. She can be as mad as she wants. But in the end, Danielle was selfish because she wanted to recruit Brittany. right? Because she wanted to feel comfortable with somebody she could trust. She wasn't thinking about Brittany's game at all.
And it was an awful game move. At the end of the day, it was predictable.
It was. That's why Brittany said it when she opened the
If
letter.
she would have recruited Gabby or Ivor,
Danielle would still be there. She would have made it to the end.
Danielle is not a great game player. She's just not.
She would have still been there after this. She wouldn't have made it to the end. They were too sus on her. But
they would have cut her eventually. Yeah,
I totally agree.
But Ivor or Gabby would have made it to the end too.
Probably. Yeah, but this is the point where I'm telling you later. I will be lodging a complaint about the winners issues. I will be filing a protest with the International Traitors Federation.
He would like to talk to a manager, please.
There may be a rant. Is that what you're saying?
No, but just something we'll talk about later.
Okay.
He's just sad because Lord Ivor is an evil genius.
Sure. Okay. So, lodging complaints with the management is this kind of brings me into this question, Brian. Brittany's the seer. You shocked?
I was kind of surprised, but my guess is she probably was in second place. And they had to do something with the seer. So with Danielle out, it seemed like the way they led us on last week that Danielle had the most. So my guess is Brittany was second, and I was kind of shocked and thought, oh, what's she going to do? And I understood what she did, but I would have done something different. I would have not picked Gabby.
I'm going to come circle back around to that because I'm with you. I feel like there's maybe another option or two she could have taken that would have maybe been a little better for her game. We do have Dylan warning Ivar that if Britt comes back after picking Gabby and says that she's a traitor, then clearly Brittany is a traitor. And I mean, it worked out in the long run overall for Ivar. His game did. But I'm sitting here watching this, and I'm wondering, like, David, he's your pick. At any point in the game, did he have an idea, Ivar?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Dylan. I'm sorry.
Did he ever have a moment in the game where he like made a statement and said, "This is what I'm thinking," and then stuck with it, or did he always switch over to what somebody else was saying? No, I can't recall him ever following through on his own instinct.
I feel like he a couple of times tried to assert his opinion, and then somebody would interrupt him, and he was very polite and just sort of shut down and let them go on. And I just think that's his nature. I think he and Dylan were tight, and I think he was going to stick with him till the end. And I think he had sussed out Danielle and just waited and waited and waited until the time was right. And, did he play a spectacular game? Absolutely not. I think he's played a good enough game to be one of 4 winners.
I think Ivor had a good low-key game because he was talking a lot away from the table. Like, and I don't think they showed everything, but in this, he talked a lot. And I love the scene, and I thought of you, David, where he's like, sort of leaning up against the wall and his face
my God,
is
that's
half
such
obscured.
A good shot. That is so great.
It was so good, and he was clocking Brittany walking down the hall.
Yeah, I made a note in my notes about that shot because I just that like half of his face peeking out behind the curtain as she's like scrambling, and he's just sitting there watching everything go down. That was a great shot for him overall, but definitely for him, it kind of gave him a little more, a little more Bondish going on. That and his helicopter ride. He was.
I thought that was cool. I actually thought that was a cool challenge. That's one of those things, like, I would be terrified. I'm afraid of heights.
Yeah.
But if I did that, I would get off and I would have been like high-fiving everyone. I would have found Fergus and been like high-fiving
I'm
Fergus.
thinking there was a lot of contracts and whatnot to fill out on that little ride. But now, okay, so
that's a challenge that I could do, I think.
Be fun.
It wouldn't scare me at all. I wouldn't have to jump, right? Because that's the thing. You'd have to push me because I wouldn't be able to jump. My knees would lock up. But You got to stand there and then just lifted you up and took you around. I think I could do that.
I know that this sounds really asinine, but I would feel safer in that stupid net than I would inside of the helicopter, which makes no sense. This is just how my brain works.
I don't disagree with you. Yes, it feels like at least you're out here and you're not all cooped up, ready to spin around.
I'm not sure how my brain comes to the conclusions it does.
Narrator,
it just does.
Narrator voice, for the record, Jamie's brain is a little off.
It is. It's a little wired. It's wired a little weird.
Wow, David, with that unnecessary dramatic pause, you have a future in voiceover.
Sign him up. Okay. So we've questioned Ivar. Now, can we just let's just get down to it. What the hell, Dolores? Really? Just a straight up what the hell? What was it that they said? 8 out of 10 times she voted incorrectly. But that's not my point here. My point here is that she has the cojones to say that she's had to write down her friend's name. What, once? Either that or Tom and Ivar are your best friends.
Right. That's why she only wrote them down because they weren't her friends.
I mean, whatever, Dolores, you seem like you're probably a really kind person. And I think you love your family a lot and you're probably
Family's
great.
Everything, she said.
But when it comes to the game of Traitors, I think that maybe her game is painted with rose-colored glasses. Just a little bit.
I've been one of her biggest critics. I think I may have called her a moron at one point. But okay,
I think she quit.
But I have to say, she had 2 votes that were correct, and they were both cast when it mostly mattered. Yes. When I was sitting there watching her talking to Brittany at the end, I was convinced Brittany had her. And then she didn't. And then when she cast the vote not to move forward with the game, I mean, that was pretty good. So she sort of redeemed herself a little bit at the end in my eyes.
Yes. That's why I don't think she was dumb. I think she was checked out. She was just I don't really care for
and the other thing is
quite a few episodes.
I don't know if we're supposed to be talking about the reunion episode yet, but I will say that who was it who said, it was Danielle who said she figured out what was important to her and used it to manipulate her. Mm-hmm. And Doris went, oh my gosh, great move. And that will never happen to me again. It's kind of it clicked for her.
Fool me once.
Yes. Now, I will say something that I've noticed was interesting with Dolores because of Brittany. Is that how many times Dolores has made a face that someone else is convinced she was going to vote a certain way and she did not vote that way. So I think that's just the face that Dolores makes when she has to write someone's name down.
Dolores is a low-key Carolyn that nobody knew. She was a low-key Carolyn.
I think it's way more subtle expressions, but they're there.
Carolyn's facial expressions made hers look normal.
Yes.
Who is the number 7 most requested cameo person
that was
in
amazing.
The world.
I'm not that surprised.
She didn't get to, she was just kind of a little bit quiet and
Yeah.
If that was some of those other players, Tom would have got up and did a dance.
Tom would have did a dance about his dance. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the compliment.
Yeah, Dennis.
Brian is getting positive reinforcement on his.
Dennis knows a good hat when he sees one. He's not afraid.
He does. He's a man who knows a hat.
Now, okay, Brian, we were talking just a little bit ago about the pick that Brittany made and picking Gabby. So I'm curious, because we both agreed maybe there was a better option. I'm curious to what you thought that better option was.
I think if there were 2 choices, one is you could take Dolores and throw the game into chaos if you want to frame. But I think the mind effort is to take Dylan and bring Dylan up and come back and say he's a faithful. And then when you're at the table fighting, you would say, you're the leader of the faithfuls. If I'm lying, why wouldn't I frame you?
Yep. Yeah. And I think that if Brittany decided she was going to be doing some acting, having Gabby just wants to be friends with everybody. So she's not a hard sell necessarily, because her better nature is always going to come first when it comes to like a connection, I think. But Dylan's in full game mode. So pull Dylan in and play it out like you're really like worried a little bit about it, and then be like, are you a traitor? Let's open it up and be like, oh, thank God. Because I trusted you and I was afraid,
but because you were close with Rob and Caroline and Danielle.
Yeah, I thought for sure. Yeah,
if I could trust you.
I picked up a little nuance in Gabby's personality in that when she was getting the full push from Brittany to, that Dylan was the traitor there at the end. When she didn't want to hear it anymore, she didn't disagree with Brittany. She didn't say anything disagreeable. She said, I need to use the restroom. I'll be back. And she just left and never came back, or at least we never saw her come back. And so I think you're right. I think she wanted to be friends with everybody, but she had her way of extricating herself from a situation she didn't want to be in.
Yeah, I do enjoy, I would love to go back and have a counter of how many times, now that we know how the whole game's gone out, we've heard Gabby's, point of view. I would very much love to see all these conversations, and every time she said yeah and didn't mean it.
Yeah.
And the way she says yeah in the best way.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, yeah.
Well, she's somebody everybody to be friends with, right? I mean, she's like the person in the group that everyone would like. Even Scott would probably like her.
Yeah, I think if Scott hung around her for half a second, he'd be like, okay, I can't help it.
He'd be like, I don't like it, but I like her.
Yeah.
Well, she never went out of her way to be mean to anybody.
No, I think she's pretty decent. I do have to say that she, the first couple of episodes, when the whole Bambi thing was happening, she definitely seemed like a stereotype. I did not watch. I don't watch any of the Bachelorette stuff, so I never really got to know her before this. But after fourth, fifth episode, yeah. No, I don't.
I'm trying to figure out. She was the Bachelorette, but she was gay.
No, she was one of the girls they brought in for the Bachelor.
Okay, but she doesn't like men.
Yeah, the Bachelor ruined her.
Listen,
she realized.
She was okay. So she didn't.
Yes, it was a late awareness, and I love that
it's an evolution. It's not always
sometimes it takes
an
on-off
switch. Sometimes
I'm not at all criticizing. I just thought it would be an odd casting decision if they knew up front that she wasn't into men and put her on.
I think it's actually a fantastic casting decision.
She could have been bisexual.
But I do really enjoy that. Even in a game like Traitors, somebody like Gabby can grow on you as you get to know them. When it's everything is so campy and over the top and produced, there's still a real person in there that shone through. And I don't know, I love her. Now I just follow her Instagram and she's
hilarious.
She's great. She's so funny. So we've got all of that, but now we're going to be heading into breakfast, which is going to bring the results of Britt's inquiry. And we're going to find out that Gabby is a faithful. But Christy, there's another truth that's revealed. And that truth is that Alan can officially pull off any look, including a velour zoot suit.
I want that suit so bad.
Do you?
I could pull off that look.
I have to tell you, when you first walked in, I was like, ugh. You know what I mean? My first instinct was that's not gelling together, but then it's oh, okay. Because it looked, at first glance, it looked to me like he had reached back to the back of the closet and was these match.
No, you said it was velour. I preferred to think it was velvet.
It was velvet, but the pants.
And I was I was thrown back to to Seinfeld, where I would drape myself in velvet where it's socially acceptable.
I do like that it had strategically placed gemstones that were carried through to the end of the episode. He's got a little sparkle, and he pulled it all together because he got to have a little switch in character, if you will, when he said, who's got the skills to pay the bills. And it was our last hint going into a challenge, but it was pretty slick. I gotta say, Alan, That was pretty slick.
I thought when Alan walked in, I loved the suit, and my first thought was, like, cue the cherry poppin' daddies or the squirrel nut zippers. We're going back to the zoot suit riot.
Yes. I was a little surprised that the challenge ended up being a helicopter and didn't feel like it had anything to do with the suit, but I don't care. I'm not mad. It's fine.
Y'all,
We'll let it be.
No, first it was before
the
the helicopter, it was the cars.
Yes, the roadsters. Mm-hmm.
They got to go and do the clues to get themselves to the spot. Yeah.
So they go to, okay, before we jump into the challenge really quick, I just want to lay down what we were dealing with the strategy in Dylan. He's convinced both Gabby and Britt could be traitors. Ivor, again, is talking about Dolores. Dylan and Brittany have a conversation, and Dylan thinks, yeah, it's Brittany. And Brittany thinks, yeah, Dylan knows. And then Dylan has to go and talk to Ivar and Dolores. And I loved it because it was so awkward and weird. And which is why it's in my notes. I prefer
we call him Lord Ivor, please.
Mr. Lord Ivor.
Lord Ivor. He's English Lord.
The Lord of his manor.
But they don't just get Lord. They're Lord.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to Google that. I'm going to Google that because I should know that.
You know what, David?
Ivar Manor.
We're gonna deal with that issue later too, David.
Well,
but it was a lovely, awkward moment.
Before we move into the challenge, I want to acknowledge the comment of the year that was just posted by Dennis, who said, "Gabby's like when you go to the Waffle House, but realize you're actually Team First Watch."
See, that's backwards. That is backwards. It's when you go to First Watch, and you're like, no, I need something more realistic. And Gabby turned out not to be unapproachable. She was approachable. She was personable. She was more down to earth than you believed, and not First Watch. Gabby was Waffle House.
Well, the nice part about Waffle House.
Gabby turned out to be a $6.95 omelet sandwich with a side of hash browns. Okay?
That's right.
But the nice thing about Waffle House is they don't raise the price of their eggs because they probably don't use real eggs.
You know what?
Then they wouldn't have to
Lord.
start
You know what, Lord David. We'll be dealing with you later.
I have a feeling I'm the topic of this week's rant, and I'm getting a little nervous.
Send your good man Friday out for the eggs and tell him to pay the peasants whatever they require.
Oh, yeah. Stay tuned, folks. All right. So we have the challenge, and we've got the riddle and the map and an exploding gate and really cool roadsters and beautiful scenery. I really think half that challenge was like, you're going to miss this place.
Y'all, though, I was so upset that they didn't get to drive the cars. If they had said there was a challenge, you got to bring these cars back, and I showed up there, and those were the cars that were there, I'd be like, no. I am driving one. Thank you very much.
I don't think any of them could drive a stick.
Well,
and even if they could, if you wreck one of those cars, oh my God, I can't even begin to guess how much those cars are worth.
I don't care. I just would want to drive it. Let me drive it.
Looks fun, right?
Or you know what? They're shooting me, and it's going to be in America, so I'll sit in this passenger seat, and then I'll just put my arms like this, so it looks like I'm driving, instead of doing this the entire time, so everybody knows you're not driving.
You need to make sure that you bring driver's gloves so that you can put them on before you get in the car to really sell the scene.
Those cars were so cool. I'm sorry.
So this makes me think of a question I have, and I want to ask this to Jamie and Christy. Brittany proposes a girls' alliance when she knows Dylan's going to go for her. Do you think throughout the course of this day that Brittany ever had a chance with Gabby, but the challenges ruined that for her? Or do you think she never had a chance to sway Gabby?
Well, I personally think that Gabby had her pegged as just being attached to Danielle, and there's no way she wasn't a traitor.
I didn't think Brittany's reaction when Danielle was voted out was the right thing. She cared too much what Danielle thought. Danielle screwed up her game. I think if she would have been like, I'm sorry, and then I'm a traitor, and would have gone, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? She just acted like that to me and made me feel guilty, and she was a traitor. Oh my God.
Right.
If
yes.
she had done that.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
think that would
reaction
have.
you have at
I
that
think that
moment.
would have sold it better. It did with Carolyn.
To be like ticked off. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, the noive, the noive
Yeah.
of that
So I
woman.
think that she didn't have a chance. But for the All Girls Alliance, what they kept forgetting to bring up that I thought was that might have made a thing was uh Dylan and Ivar are like this. And Ivar has been
Mhm.
saying the entire game that the traitors are women. Guys, they're voting us all out. It doesn't matter if we're a traitor or we're not. They're gonna take us out. So why don't we take them out and then we'll figure out amongst us if there's any traitors left.
The traitors
Yeah.
almost exclusively were women. Well,
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You use that again, right? But now, what are the odds that
oh, you're
she's
right.
another
No, they
traitor?
should have absolutely used that
I
as a
think that's how
reason.
Brittany could have done it because if she had done that, she might have. Because then there's the history there of Ivar
I
at
think
every
Gabby
round
was
table
so
saying, "I think
transparent,
there's two. I think they're women, and there's two." And how do you know, Ivar?
but
How
not
are you?
Gabby. I'm sorry, not
Are you
Gabby.
so sure? I'm
Danielle
sorry.
was so transparent, and the move to bring Brittany on was so obvious that I don't think there was a thing Brittany could do or say.
And I wish Brittany would have
Yeah.
said that at some point to her. Maybe at the reunion, they're like, you know what, you kind of screwed my game up too when you know
Well, and it's a
recruited
little
me
bit.
because what can I do?
It just adds to that frustration that Carolyn. And I was thinking about this. I think part of the reason why so many people really do like Carolyn is, besides the silly antics and that she coins awkward for all of us, and we can relate to that. I do think that she is the voice of the audience all the time. She's always the one going, "Are
That's
you
that's
kidding
an
me?"
absolutely cool thought. That had not occurred to me, but that's
And
awesome.
I think that's why she so quickly becomes the
She just
favorite
seems
for
the
everyone.
most authentic, the most open, vulnerable, authentic.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
but she
I
was
mean,
saying
Gabby
the
said that
same
at the
thing.
reunion. She said
Yep.
she's real, she's authentic, and
Like
that's
what you're
why.
seeing on screen is literally how she is. She's not
Right. And I mean,
changing
when
anything
she
up.
was saying, like, Danielle, we can't bring Brittany, one, because, like, I'm not stupid. I know what that means for me, but, like,
I may
everyone will
be
know.
odd, but I'm not stupid. Yes.
Yeah.
But
Everybody will know you're always talking to her and hanging out with her. Like, you're just going to put a target on us.
Yeah.
So, it's
as
really
the newcomer, I'm going to try to keep us in this episode before we go to the end, because Jamie, I want you to say the best line of the episode by your girl.
Which one? Where she said, well, there's two, because I have two written down.
Well, there's two, but there's the best one.
Which
and it's
one?
in the challenge we just talked about.
Oh, I don't know.
It's when Brittany knows the code to the gate, and they cut to her, and she says, "Well, I guess Brittany knows her periodic tables."
Oh, yes, dang
table.
it. That was going to be my introduction tonight. I was going to tell you guys, I'm in accounting, so I definitely know my periodic tables.
I definitely know my periodic table.
That was the
Brittany
best.
Brittany used to be a pharmaceutical rep. I'm not sure that she still is, but she was at one point. So I wonder if, you got to get your numbers in line.
But it was so funny for her to say periodic table.
It was so good.
It was the best.
Gabby has got
It was so Gabby. It was so great.
Some great ones. There's no doubt. She's just, I don't know. She's just special. She's special. Okay, so we get the helicopter part of this challenge, which we kind of talked about a little bit. Super cool. Dolores looked super scared. I would have been really freaking out too. But I thought that this little experience with Brittany and Dolores might actually kind of persuade Dolores more than it did. I don't know why I thought that. It felt like it would. I don't know. Did anyone else have that, or is that?
Oh no, I thought for sure Dolores was in Brittany's pocket when she casted that vote. I was dumbfounded.
Yeah, I was really disappointed.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it really was like a good bonding moment.
I think Dolores might have been in play until the round table.
You think
that's what Dolores said.
Yeah, like I think, and when we get to the round table, I think Brittany made an error.
Okay, yeah, and I'm going to be like pretty interested in knowing what that is, because we can just kind of jump in that direction right now. I'm going to have Brian. I'm going to have you recap the highlights here in a minute, but I have to say this because I've been watching Brittany play these games since 2010. That's a long time. Like, her season of Big Brother, I was watching the live feeds with a brand new baby. Like, his birthday was the day before that season of Big Brother aired.
Desmond?
Yes. And so, I mean, I spent hours and hours with that cast.
Listening
So
to them
if
talk.
Desmond had been born a girl, Desmond would have been Brittany.
Probably not. But it's a sweet
that season, I think there must have been something. They must have done something that season to expand the online or something, because that's the season I watched the most online as well. As far as
it's because that's when Showtime got Big Brother After Dark.
There we go. Because we spent a lot of time with them, and
yeah,
a lot of time with Brittany, and it was literally her sitting around with guys and just making jokes, talking, and being
her.
She can give some sarcasm.
And so there's in those moments, it's like, the first week or two, people are still kind of playing a character, but by living with these people 2 weeks in 24/7 with no other interactions with other human beings, the real versions of these people came out. And so she was there. She was
good or bad
through all those years, and then she'd come back and returned to the game a couple of times, and I followed her on the social medias. She got married. She had kids. Her first child had a lot of health issues. They were at
wow.
I mean, I was watching that whole journey. Like, I was watching that whole journey, and and the things that she was kind of doing for other kids that had the same issues, and she's just been there. And all those years, I've never considered her a great gamer. Never.
Brittany?
Yeah,
Brittany is a great social player in that she's a person that other people relate to and aren't threatened by.
And she has the same that same energy underneath all the layers. There's that same Carolyn thing, whereas Brittany's just kind of Brittany. You can get maybe a heightened or dimmed version of her, but overall she's just her.
1000% agree. Until Caroline came around, all these years when we would say, "Oh, who's our favorite player?" Brittany.
Yep.
Although Brittany now is a little more cutthroat because the experience and the years she's been playing has made her more Boston Rob and less Brittany. But way back when.
And that leads me to my next question that I was going to ask you and Christy, David, was that I really felt like her game in this season in Traitors this year, not like necessarily the reindeer games or other Big Brother appearances. This game was like a really great accumulation of her past experiences in the gamer world. And I feel like even though she didn't win, and even though at the end she might have slipped a little bit, I felt like I was watching Brittany finally find that thing that she can do. And it was kind of cool. Like, I don't know. Granted, I'm a big fan, but
what's the season? What season has she done the best on?
Well, I would say this for one.
No. I'm saying for Big Brother prior to this.
Well, in her first season, she made it all the way down to the end of the final 5, but she didn't know that the other 4 had a secret alliance with each other. Otherwise, she could have gone further, but she was painted in that corner. So she did good socially in that. Yeah. The next season was the one with Dan Giesling, where she was a coach.
Right.
And had in all of them. And she didn't make it. I think she made it halfway through. So she didn't do here as well the second time.
And then it was after that reindeer games after that.
And then she won reindeer games.
No, she didn't win it.
She didn't.
That's the thing. Danielle's all super pissed off, and Brittany didn't even cut her at the end. There were only 6 of them. I don't even remember.
It wasn't Xavier, so who won it?
No, I think that it was Franzel.
Okay, that makes sense.
I don't remember, but
she's a naughty elf.
But you look at her coming to this, and then she has to by herself sit down at this round table and take everything in that she's learned about this game, about these people, her history, the preconceived notions of who she is and what she's capable of, and had to try to like act her way through. And I don't feel like she had a terrible defense. I think she had the right idea. And I think that if she was going up against anybody that wasn't Dylan, you know what I mean? If Dylan hadn't gone, yep, I'm for certain.
But at the same
anyone
time,
else, she could have worked her way through on it.
But I think there's a lot of things she could have said that she didn't in that situation.
I agree.
I'm gonna disagree with both of you.
Go for it.
I think that she put up too good and too hard a defense at the table. She was so, like, you saw a side of her that came out, and I know she was fighting for her life. And I'm gonna say to both of you, this is where I disagree with you. Not that in that moment that was the best play, but if that interaction had happened like 6 episodes ago, yes, she might have taken Dylan out.
Yes, I agree. I do agree with that. And with her,
she'd have been better off playing it off like you're a moron.
Yeah.
No, or being chill about it.
The Brittany we got at that table was fierce. Like when she said to him, when she looked over at Ivar and said, "Do I seem meek to you?"
Yeah.
It blew me away. I was all like, "Hell yeah!" But it made it not so great for her in the defense moment. But like, it was still
just
kind of
because
awesome.
I've been quieter doesn't mean that. Yeah, doesn't mean that I'm a pushover.
It seems to me that is what I was saying is the accumulation of all this game she's played. She was more Boston Rob in that moment than she was herself. Yeah. Well, it's like she's absorbed enough of that. She knows how to turn it on.
I mean, this is where I give her credit. You know, Dylan, for the first time, breaks and isn't Mr. Nice Guy, and loses his cool with her and curses and says, you know, Jesus Christ, effing, you know, F&A or whatever.
Which was like watching a church boy break bad.
And then in his, like, you know, in a talking head, he says he felt like he brought a knife to a gunfight. That Brittany was prepared and ready.
That's ridiculous too.
Yes.
Because he came in prepared and he started his thing. And as soon as she got a chance, because she had something he didn't think she'd have anything to say back. And then he all of a sudden got like, oh gosh, really? Then you didn't prepare yourself very well. And honestly, how does that make her more guilty? Because he can't back up what he's saying.
This is what I was
wondering. She should brought up. But.
I totally agree with everything you said, but they liked him more. Is all it was.
Maybe.
Yeah, I just think they just trusted
until you start
more.
saying he was literally hanging out with the traitors this entire season.
That would have been my big defense against.
He's been working with Ivar, who is very vocal about all the traitors must be women. Guys, does that mean that it's us 3? Because maybe it's those 2.
Yeah, I would definitely have gone there's nobody in the game.
I think she
could have pulled the 2 ladies. There never has been any in the game that is so good that they can literally point at every single traitor and say they're a traitor, they're a traitor, they're a traitor, and always be right if they're not a traitor themselves. Like this season has been traitors eating each other. There's no way that he is.
Exactly.
Do you think, Brian, you watched more? I'm sorry, Christy, go ahead. And then a moment.
The ladies, the ladies, when she says to them, and you ladies, I know we're faithfuls because I know I am. Dolores, I know you are. I was wondering about Gabby, but I know that for sure now. So come on. And then whoever they take out, Ivor or Dylan, they weren't? Well, then the other one must have been. And then the 3 girl lady, you know what I mean? It could have been like that, but oh well.
Yeah. Dennis says that the traitors always panic at the round table much more than the faithfuls. And I think that is mostly true. But I want to go back and say,
I wouldn't say panic. I would say fight harder.
Fight harder.
Fight more aggressively.
But I want to go back all the way to Bob the drag queen, because you know what? Bob didn't get nervous at the round table until his name was directly pointed out by his own partner.
When Rob went after him, he was absolutely flabbergasted and didn't know what.
Yeah, because
pearls clutched.
Because Bob walked in there being like, there ain't nobody here that knows more than I do. Period.
He thought he owned the game,
Period.
and he realized there was a bigger piranha in the tank,
Yeah.
and he was like, "I'm screwed."
Oh no, he still thinks he's the biggest one.
I agree.
We saw that.
Oh
reunion.
no, I think he's got
Come on.
a grudging respect for Boston Rob at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sad that Brittany couldn't make it happen, but I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you the fact that it was against Dylan, it doesn't bother me as much because
Well-
she got to get Danielle, and that is really what I needed the most out of all of it.
She
was
did. She got
Danielle
to
to
get her
get
again. She betrayed her again. But
It was so
but not
good.
before Danielle screwed up her game. So I think given the entire game, she did play well. She was handed something that, oh my God, how could you? Like, that was just the scenario. Anyone else recruiting you, if it hadn't been Danielle, but like, come on. So she screwed up her game, and then she tried her best to pivot back, and she just couldn't.
Well, we're going to pivot back in about 5 seconds because we're going to take a quick silent moment for a commercial break, and we'll be right back. All right, pivot complete. We're back.
I have to say, every time we use the word pivot, and we used it last night on the podcast a
Pivot!
bunch of times, all I hear is Ross
Pivot!
yelling at the
Absolutely.
people moving the couch. Pivot!
Absolutely.
Pivot!
And our
Yes,
kids would say, what?
They do,
What?
and they do. I guys, I literally experienced this 4 nights ago when I was on a late night walk with my teen, and there was a home a couple blocks away, and some guys were moving in, and they had a couch, and they were trying to get it in through the door from their pickup truck, and I started yelling pivot, and my son was mortified, but they knew what was up.
Mortified. But wait, did they laugh?
Yeah, they got it.
Okay, there you go. That's all that matters.
Jamie, I was having lunch with a business lunch, and there was a guy, and he was Generation Z, and we were just talking stuff at the table, and he asked me what music I liked because we were in Yard House where they play a lot of classic rock, and I said, well, my taste changes periodically. I'm kind of in my David Bowie period right now, where that's what I'm listening to a lot of, and he goes, who? So I convinced him. He had a 2-hour ride, and I convinced him he was going to listen to Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars on his 2-hour trip without answering the phone.
If you're a real like music lover, you have some. Even if you don't listen to older stuff, you still have a touchstone with it. Like,
Some
you still know it's
requirements.
there. You kind of
There's
like,
some
the
requirements.
influence or whatever. So, by asking the question, what kind of music do you like? That
Yep.
makes me think that he was a music lover. Why ask a question like that if you don't know nothing?
It's a little silly.
He was, but he was like 24.
He's just a
My
weakling.
kids my kids know who David Bowie is.
Well, that's because you're a good mom.
So do mine.
I did it in the right way. Yeah.
And I'm certain that Brian's son is a big fan of some New Orleans funk music based on the output of it.
Well, that he knows about it. He is at least informed, but he likes underground DC rap artist that I couldn't even tell you his name. So
Yeah, that's mine.
He's like the version of me that likes the bands before they're popular. You can't like the popular ones, so he
they
likes,
get too
Absolutely.
big and they lose their magic.
right. You don't
Listen.
want the frat guys liking them. You
Y'all.
want them to be yours.
Friends do not let friends listen to corporate rock, man.
Friends don't lie and they
Freedom
don't listen to
rock,
corporate
turn it
rock.
up, dude.
Exactly. You cannot.
But at the
no.
end of the day, when you look at the late 60s and the early 70s, all those folks who wrote the best protest rock ever written were all corporate rock. They were all under.
It all gets big and someone makes some money.
Well-
Yeah, but back then, corporate bought the cocaine and weed and didn't care.
Well, it's a fair point. A fair point.
It's fair.
And they required 2 albums a year. Can you imagine Adele having to do 2 albums a year? She'd be like, I'm done.
Well,
Well,
the
on the
artists
flip
now,
side-
you'd have to get the 50 songwriters that make each song together to do that. So
Yes. Well, guys, our girl got banished. She tried. She tried like hell. She put up a good fight.
Okay. Okay, we've reached the point, David. Mini
All right,
rant
Brian.
number one.
I gotta
You
get
have
the,
the
I gotta
floor.
get the
Oh my
graphics
gosh.
showing.
Get the graphic
I can
ready.
sense-
Put one
sense
in the
something's
chamber. Are
There's
you
a
ready?
disturbance in the force.
I am.
Okay, here we go. I feel like I have the only loser on this screen. Everybody else won. It's a record-setting season of Traitors for Faithful to win. And the only reason I'm not victorious is because Danielle's shitty gameplay took my player out right at the finish line. And I believe Brittany as a Faithful would have been, I think she would have been much more comfortable in that role and would have made it through. But Danielle, once again, reached up from the grave and screwed me out of the win so that all three of you can dance on my grave while my girl Brittany gets taken out. And now I have to say, I do get like the hockey assist because she took out Danielle.
Yep.
My player took out the big bad witch of the season.
MVP.
So I may not have won the title, but
you can feel pride.
But I am proud that she did something I didn't even know you all wanted her to do. I mean, we wanted to take her out, but we didn't know we wanted like chapter 2 of this saga between the two of them. So, I feel like this is Empire, and in chapter 3, Brittany will win.
You guys.
So.
Yes.
You guys, when Brittany called Danielle out, was like, we weren't even friends. Before reindeer games.
I've been here like 3 hours.
An accumulative of 3
hours. Over like 15 years, 3 hours. We don't talk. You make it sound like we were like tight or something. That was the best.
I still love Brittany. You know what? You know what is so great about this? All of these years, and she hasn't slid it down one tiny peg for me. Not one.
Well, no, and her face looks way better than Dr. Will's.
Yes, it does.
I'm just saying,
so does nearly everyone's.
But yes, I'm using the extreme. I'm sorry, but like some people age well, some people not so well. She's aging very well. She's a beautiful lady.
Yes,
Speaking of people aging, was it not delicious when the gal looked at Rob and said, "You used to be hot"?
Yes, and I love that.
But he took it so well. He didn't get offended. He just
and then they made fun of his outfit too. The poor guy.
He's the most.
He's the worst dressed.
He should have said, "And the most comfortable." Thank you very much.
I do sympathize with him there, but
yeah.
But I want to drop some statistics. I want to ask you all a question, then I want to drop a statistic on you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Studying your
How happy?
Make us do math.
How happy? You don't have to do your periodic table, David.
Everyone, pull out your periodic table.
Get out your periodic table. We're going to do math. How happy were you with how this season concluded?
Like 70% at peace.
But happy on the whole.
Yeah, there's always that little extra bit of game usually at the end when the people who are left try to figure out if they can take anybody else out so that they can get a bigger cut of the pot. Yeah. We did not get this because gosh darn it, they're all too good. Oh no, we're going to split it 4 ways.
Yeah.
David?
Oh, really?
I'm going to answer this. I'm going to take a minute because you don't have the history on this. As I used to get very mad at Survivor about who should have won. And Jamie over the years, no, I don't, because Jamie convinced me of one thing, that the person who should have won did in fact win. And you shouldn't be hurt over it. So I think this is a great outcome. It's the first time the faithfuls have won. And frankly, if that didn't happen, who wants to watch?
Well, and it was convincing. The reason I ask... The reason I ask is I saw the Peacock poll.
Oh, okay.
On this, this is by far the most satisfied Traitors viewers have ever been, and the breakdown was enjoyed or did not like the different split in the poll. 92% liked the outcome, and 8% were unhappy.
Well, do you think? Okay, I think there might be two parts of this. One,
I'm not disappointed. Yeah, but I would have been happier if Brittany had won.
Yes, exactly.
Does that make sense?
But I think that you got the satisfaction of the person who was really grinding people's gears out, And they got all of the gamers out. And if you think about that just separate from everything else, they were in a castle. They were in this game with some of the biggest names in these kind of games.
Yeah.
The biggest
they pulled
gamers.
hard on this cast.
And they managed to get through it. It's a my like about it is I like Ivar. I'm not talking like total crap on his game or even Dolores's. But they are there because of Daniel. Like Dylan, that's it. Danielle, like, she could have been there if she would have made the right move and not had the Brittany, but I still think Dylan would have beat Danielle.
Yeah, they were on to her.
This was Dylan's game, totally. It was all him.
May I interject with a little information on Lord Ivar? Because
yes.
Christy asked, and I did look it up.
Oh, I did too.
So, Lord Ivar Alexander Michael Mountbatten, and he is the only non-reality star of the cast. He's gained his fame through his lineage. He is the second cousin of King Charles and the first openly gay member of the British monarch's royal family.
Yes,
he also was married and had 3 kids.
In this season? I didn't know he was gay.
I think he said at the very beginning, like at the
introduction. He was married and had 3 kids, and then it was quite the scandal because he ended up falling in love with a flight attendant.
So you're telling me
who he subsequently is married.
So you're telling
me he's actually a married gay man.
He didn't stay out of the papers, is what you're telling me.
Yes, which is frowned upon.
So
it's his defense. It was his biggest defense. That's why I'm a faithful, because I know how to stay out of the papers.
What I looked up, because what I was interested in, what was their title, and his dad and his older brother. His dad was the 3rd, and his brother's the 4th.
Oh, the Marquis
of the Marquis of Milford Haven.
Yes.
So he's the son of a Marquis. He's not.
He is not a Marquis.
Yeah, but so he still gets the Lord title.
Yes.
I guess.
Well, now he's 1/4 Lord of the Traitors and 200.
And what was the final pot?
204,300.
So they each get 50 grand.
204,000.
Yeah.
You said
204,000. Sorry, 204,300.
So
they get like 50 grand.
51 grand each. It's some odd change.
That's enough to get married.
They better tip Fergus pretty good.
Well,
where is Fergus?
I don't know. We didn't even see him this episode.
I like what Danielle said about that. She said it isn't like changing money. It isn't like winning $500,000, but it is something that would have changed my family's trajectory. And
yeah. Well,
that's why
a good thing, considering that you swore on their lives a million times,
right.
Grandma.
Right.
Poor grandkids. Those grandkids are going to drop any day.
They're cursed now.
Well, those people, they have years. They have years to have. She has years to have more additional grandkids. That's why you swear on them.
But the therapy, y'all, the therapy on those kids. Because if my mom had sworn on my kids, I'd be very upset with my mother.
I wonder what the economic impact of winning is beyond the money, because this show has really shot up the zeitgeist again.
Yeah, I heard it was like the fastest growing reality show in history.
It is, and
that's
and
all
this,
AC.
But that question you asked, David, that before I said this, the reason watching some of the other Traitors is maybe more compelling to me is that the people on there, if they got 51,000, it would be a life-changing amount. In a way, to most of these people, it's not. And
I don't think Gabby's rich.
No, Gabby said flat out, "I'm playing for the money," and now she gets to marry her lady love.
Right. She's not rich, but she's a model, and she's on the cover of Vogue, and but I'm talking about you have people on the show that are like,
you have forever. So
I agree, but on the other shows, you have people that are like, if I win, like me and my wife can do IVF.
Unless you're Giselle, who doesn't seem to age.
Yes.
Except the IVF thing is what they say when they go on Deal or No Deal Island, what they do when they go on
It has a specific set point.
Seriously, I've heard so many people use that now on the different reality shows.
So Christy, you're an IVF truther. We've discovered something.
I'm just wondering, like, is that just like my husband? No, my husband has a theory on these reality shows.
I need to mute on.
Is it a competition to see who has the saddest story? Why does everyone have a sad story?
No, we're not watching Survivor.
It's because
people want to root for the underdog. You want to root for somebody
how
who
do you know they really
money.
are trying to do the IVF? You don't know.
Maybe you know what, Christy? I'm going to wave the white flag and agree and say, let's give it to the rich people. Let's not give it to the IVF liars. Let's go that way.
I don't know.
IVF.
We're going to give you this money, but if you don't have a kid next year, we're coming for you.
So
I'm just saying.
So I did have an amusing thought that I thought would annoy the shit out of Jamie. So I'm going to share it.
Doesn't take much.
Is imagine Alan Cummings as the host of Survivor.
I think it'd be great. Let's do it.
Just be awesome.
First of all,
let's
he
do
would
it.
come out in the most ridiculous
Speedo
shirt.
And he'd be like, fast, you need to move faster. That's how we do it on Survivor.
It would be a Speedo, but then he would have like this wonderful kind of like open like robe chiffon thingy that would just like flow.
There's my man right there.
But could you imagine the panache with which he would say, drop the nutsack?
Okay, that's Australian Survivor. We can't say that on US TV.
It would be amazing.
He'd have like the white zinc on his nose, the big hat.
It'd be great. Oh, yeah, like a lovely sun hat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be very large because he's gonna take care of his skin.
I'm thinking like it would look like very like like White Lotus
and like the biggest sunglasses. Fantastic.
Grab that cord, release the nutsack. Quoted
It's
JL.
the most profane thing ever said on Australian TV.
It's pretty good stuff.
I want to recognize Dennis's comment.
Yes.
He says for him, this win was refreshing. And I think for a lot of people, it was. I mean, this was kind of a wholesome ending.
The good guys won.
Well, I think the franchise needed a faithful win, because if the faithfuls can't win, at some point people will stop watching.
Right.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Or you're cast on it. You were faithful, and you go, "Well, I'm quitting. I'm going home."
I think what they need. Do you think, is there anything to this? And you can all comment on this. I think they need to start selecting their traitors and not have them be the most famous people on the show.
Oh yeah, I think that.
I mean, like Se3 was like the obvious, and it's like you should just vote for the people who are the most famous, and you will win.
But Se3 was also on the. I mean, yes and no. Se3 was on the same season with Rachel Riley. And
Se3 also like got handed her win by the guy who went, "Oh, I'm rich and I don't care." So,
I definitely think that. Listen, it's prudent for them to pick a personality. It just is. It keeps the ratings up. It keeps you interested. You don't want a boring traitor. Blah. No one wants that. As much as I like Lord Ivar, as I think he's probably a pretty sweet human being, I think he would have been a boring ass traitor.
Oh, I don't know. I think he would have been like, if you would have teamed him up with Danielle, that would have been epic. Like, he'd have been all emotional and crying and shaking, and he'd have been like,
no, he would have just done whatever Danielle wanted. And
well, see, I don't think so. I
think he would have. I think he would have had some good ideas, and then Daniel would say, "Ivar, no, seriously, I'm talking. Can I speak? Can I speak? Just wait. Can I speak?" And then he'd be quiet, and they'd do it.
I think you might be a traitor. You might be a traitor.
I feel like don't talk to me like that. You're very traitors. I feel like this was the best cast we have had, and I liked the big personalities. But I'm telling you, Danielle, the way she acted, and then called everyone else chaotic, and then how at the reunion, how they all wanted to kiss her butt and sugarcoat it and act like you played the best game, Danielle. Oh my gosh, you were so good. You're acting. No. It was bad. Her gameplay was obvious.
Let me ask you a question, because David's having a technical difficulty, but if he was sitting right this second, I know this is the question that
he's back.
I know this is a question that David might present. Do you think that this cast now listen, we did see some reveals where they're like, oh yeah, Danielle, I wouldn't have thought. She's doing good. She's doing all right. And then they were blown away with Carolyn.
Yeah.
But do you think this like accolade that's coming in now maybe is a result to some social media backlash that came at Danielle? Do you think this is more of like a supportive?
They're trying to like smooth it over.
Yeah, like just being supportive.
There is no question, unequivocally, the answer to that question is yes.
And every single one of them played along.
Because the fans, like we are, were appalled at her move with Carolyn. And
there's a lot of fans out there that she has her fans that thought she did a bold, great thing and it was a great show of whatever. They loved it. Okay. Then there's the other group of fans that like Danielle, and if it had been any other player than Carolyn, would have probably been like, yeah, that was awesome. But it was like the mix of it being Danielle and how she talked to Carolyn specifically that turned it into an ugly mess.
But the podcast, like the people who are the influencers, if you will, in this realm, which we are tiny players compared to the big guys, they uniformly are supporting her.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's not even close.
I'm supporting Danielle.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What's wrong with us? Is it us? Are we the baddies?
Are we the baddies?
Listen, guys, if we have listeners here who love Danielle, then I really apologize for the four of us. We just don't get it. And that's okay.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
But I do understand that in that circle of people, it's a very unique experience. Even though there's so many gamers out there now, it's still a really unique experience and group of people. And you go to these events together, your bestie in that career is going to be somebody else's like mortal enemy in that career. And I get it. It's its own world upon itself. So I can see where there's going to be some support where, fans will or will not support something. But it seemed to me in that reunion that, because I'm reading faces more than I'm reading words or listening to words, I'm reading faces. And there's a handful of people like Bob the Drag Queen 100% supports Danielle. 100%.
But that's personal. That's only based on the fact that she supported him during the game.
Yes, because I think there's like an actual friendship there.
Right. So he would never. I'm going to say this. I like Bob the Drag Queen. I don't think he always has a very clear vision of people.
I do believe that there's some people that were there that are like, well, yeah, I'll play along, but their faces said, So that's what I'm looking at more is like the expressions.
Oh, maybe that was the expression I was reading off of Caroline when they were talking about how she was the seventh person on Get, and she wanted to go in your face, Danielle, in your face.
Right.
But she was just sat there and went.
Yes. And Dennis says, let's be honest, except for Ivar, this was a cast of actors. And in a lot of ways it was, because you were dealing with gamers and they learn how to lie to people's faces. And sometimes people can't.
Except for Caroline.
Okay, but let's be fair.
She cannot lie.
I think the people who play Big Brother have a better chance at this game.
Or Survivor, too.
I think Big Brother's a better skill set.
Yep, I agree.
I think you're right, but I also think that they're both so head and shoulders above like Bachelor candidates or Real Housewives.
100%. But I'm saying of the actual like competition shows that they're pulling people from, I think Big Brother is probably the one that kind of gets them the best training, without actually playing Traitors, and then after that Survivor.
You know what though? When you've got somebody like Dylan or somebody like Pete the Pilot, maybe not Ivar, because I don't think that Ivar, he didn't know who anybody was. He doesn't watch. I don't think he even owns a television.
He said he didn't know who anyone was.
Well, he couldn't even figure out the Columbo references appropriately to correct Danielle. So there's a very different, I think when you're in the middle of gamer realm, like we were just talking about in that world, I think you start to view things very differently. If you're somebody who's watched these shows, like if Dylan has watched Survivor but not played Survivor, he's watching these people in front of them, and he's watching them like it's a television show. He's watching them like the characters that they're playing. He is seeing their moves because he knows how these games work. He's not on the inside of it. And that's a place where we all, I mean, podcasters are guilty of this 100% too, where we say, well, they made the wrong move. They should have done this and they should have done that. But we're saying it from a perspective of seeing the entire chessboard and all the pieces where they lay. They're always in the middle of it and seeing just a fraction of what we see. And they're having to use their point of view to make decisions. Dylan had an upper hand by just being able to watch the gamers as gamers.
But who made it to the end? The 4 that made it to the end, none of them were gamers.
Right? That's what I'm saying. That they are in a unique position to watch. It's like they're watching Carolyn and they're watching
being observation, not just
they're
like
right. They're watching Derek. They're watching all of these players play a game, and it's like they're watching from their television and they know what the next move's going to be. You know, when you're in the middle of the game, I think your perspective is very skewed compared to watching it in front of you.
Yeah. What were some of your favorite parts of the reunion show?
Well, let's talk about the reunion show generally.
Before I jump into the reunion show, guys, if you wouldn't mind, we do have some feedback, and I would very much want to get into that while we have it up. We have feedback this week from Maggie.
Hi, Maggie.
What's up, Maggie?
All right. Maggie says, hi, Faithfuls. Brittany did it. She voted Danielle out. Yay. I am so glad she's gone. The helicopter was pretty cool. I think I could have done that. At the final roundtable, Dolores said, vote with my brain instead of my heart. Giant WTF question mark. Girl, Maggie, we're all there. Dolores leaves a lot of WTFs all over the place. They got all the traitors out, and I think that's the first time that this has happened. Gabby, maybe we could get married. They did get married. Did she win? So Gabby got married. She obviously got winnings. That's pretty exciting.
Oh, I want to Google that.
She did get married. She posted pictures.
I'm literally going to Google.
I love how supportive Alan was with his expression of her wanting to get married. Oh my God, that was so cute. I loved it so much. She says, I want Alan's blue coat that he was wearing at the end. Yeah. It's like a bedazzled shawl, you know?
It's like if the Cookie Crisp cape was cool.
Yeah. He made that look good. He's just styled it up.
I thought Dolores was going to pick Banish, but she did not. Because she does that thing with her eyes that everybody thinks she's going to do a thing she doesn't do.
Then he tells them, I didn't do that. And they're like, we watched. Did you watch the show? Yes.
Did you watch the show? Yay for the faithfuls, she says. Now, to watch Severance. I'll watch the reunion tomorrow. Maggie. Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you, Maggie.
The feedback. All right. If you guys have any feedback, it's the end of the season. But that doesn't mean that you can't still be a part of the conversation. So you can go over to Facebook and you can go to Instagram and you can post funny memes or answer questions or make up whatever. Right? We don't care. Interact with us. It's fun. Traitors doesn't have to just be, for a couple of weeks. There's other Traitor series out there. If you are watching that, you can drop by Facebook and tell us about it. If you have anything fun to share.
Our roundtable never ends. It's an ongoing roundtable.
Keeps going.
We are always here.
It's true. And it always starts with, is everyone caught up? So we don't huge spoilers.
Everybody
we're really kind to each other that way. I appreciate that.
Now, guys, let's hit up the reunion. Let's get all the highlights and our favorite moments.
I want to say something just generally about the reunion before we move into it.
Okay.
This is the first time, and I've been watching reality TV since Survivor season 1, right? Yep. Which is a lot of years.
Is that like 2000? Year 2000?
Right around there, yes. So, but this is the first time I can say I enjoyed the reunion episode more than the end.
Yeah.
It just was, the reunion was such a hot freaking mess. And the fact that they were still fighting, and you had Bob the drag queen. I don't know why we can't just call him Bob, but okay, Bob the drag queen.
Because I think it's TMTM. It's like trademarked. That's his
name.
Oh,
is it? This is like,
it's like Lord Ivor, David.
Yeah.
Lord Ivor's an evil genius.
It's like Scott Eric. No, wait, no.
It's not. I can't believe you just did that. We're gonna get feedback for sure. There's going to be 2 words that they're not going to be Merry Christmas.
I'm just saying. I have a son who has 2 names, but they're in one. But there are people who are like this. So it's Bob the drag queen. It's all one name.
Yeah, but I just think, I mean, they were arguing, and Bob the drag queen is like, I let you talk. Can you shut the F up and let me talk? I mean, they were like really so passionate about the game. That was cool.
Over it, right? They're so well adjusted.
You know what? I'm telling you, it's because of Andy Cohen. Wow. Like, he just does something when he walks into a room of reality stars. He just his presence alone creates a divide and a fight line.
As long as Anderson Cooper is not there, things can proceed.
Anderson Cooper did indeed host a reality series. Brian, do you know what it was?
No.
It was The Mole.
The Mole.
Yep.
Anderson Cooper hosted The Mole.
Great show.
The original broadcast
Spoiler
version.
alert, The Mole was Dennis Rodman.
No,
not season 1. The Mole
they
was
have
a
the new
girl.
Mole out.
Right?
Yeah, okay, you guys are freaking me out with your knowledge of reality TV. If we're going down side paths and rabbit holes.
Anderson Cooper, for those of you that don't know, is a Vanderbilt.
Yes. But you know what? He can hang out with Andy Cohen on New Year's any old time, because the 2 of them doing shots together is about it's about as awesome.
I would watch that.
Anderson Cooper, like a little tipsy, giggling at everything
he
hears.
Funniest.
Is so funny. I don't even know why. Because he gets
it's
in it and he can't stop laughing.
He's very giggly. But these guys were like, they're I did like that we had the Carolyn and the Danielle of the whole thing, right? And you know what? It was like, our energy is spot on, because Danielle is all like, well, I'm A, B, and C. And Karen's like, I'm just trying to be me. I don't even know why everybody's so mad all the time. And, and Danielle's like defending, and Carolyn's like, this is just who I am. This is just who I am. And it was still humble, and that's the thing. Again, if Danielle were to be like, I'm one of the best villains in reality competitions, I'd be like, yeah, way to go. You are. You definitely, you've got it.
Danielle doesn't think she's a villain.
But that drives me crazy.
But she's not one of the best villains, because King George would still slay
her. For sure. Oh, Ghost Cat.
yeah, I have a Ghost Cat. Sorry.
But the thing is that if somebody like Danielle, okay, if they can say, yeah, I'm a villain and I know it and I'm wearing that badge and that's fine, then you have somebody like Wes, because Wes is a jerk. He is a villain, but you know what? Everybody likes him because he's like, this is absolutely who I am.
Yeah.
But kudos to Wes for saying, well, Rob can have the belt since he beat me.
Yes. Yep.
Right?
Yeah, but I don't think Wes was ever really felt as an impact this season. It was like he never got quite going.
I know, he impacted my Facebook profile just fine.
Well, I did love when they put him up and then they inferred he was related to Fergus, because they look quite similar.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. What if he was? What if they are? Maybe they're like cousins 3 times removed.
Was Fergus in the final episode? I don't think I saw it.
No, I never saw Fergus.
I didn't see him either.
I told you guys, he was flying the helicopter.
There you go. Yeah.
What else is a Fergus gonna do but fly the helicopter? He's a pilot.
No, I think I could appreciate it as well if Danielle admitted she was a villain.
Oh, I
Sure.
would give it. I'd be like,
I
yep.
would be so upset with her if she said she was one of the best villains, because she wasn't.
Okay,
There's
maybe
way
if she
better
wasn't
villains.
a braggadocious best.
Yeah,
but if
I just
she
like
owned,
stop it. You're not the best at anything.
if
Stop
she
it.
owned her
That's
game
a good band name.
by saying
really
that
good band
she
name.
was a villain, I would have so much more respect for that, because that's playing a role. That's, knowing where your strengths and weaknesses are and embracing that in your game. Great.
Yeah.
It's
no, but she puts the blame on everyone else.
It's
Everybody
exactly.
else.
It's the
It's like, come
gaslighting,
on.
and I
The
can't.
hypocrisy,
I just can't do it.
the horrible
And when it's up
hypocrisy.
against somebody like Carolyn, who, again, like kind of is the voice of the audience and is slightly, just slightly more humble overall.
And honestly, has a legitimate reason, has a legitimate beef with Danielle. Danielle's beef with Caroline was reciprocal. She was mad at Caroline for being mad at her gameplay.
Yes,
Like,
there you go.
do you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. No.
Yeah.
You're the one who did wrong and wronged me. So you can't be mad that I'm mad that you wronged me.
But
Like,
then
come
on the flip of that, you see Danielle being upset with Brittany, and Brittany's absolutely right. Like, what allegiance do I owe you necessarily? And clearly Brittany was upset that she had, she was like, well, I'm in a position, I'm going to lose this game if I don't vote you out. And she still felt about it.
Wait a minute. Do you think that Danielle knew it was very obvious to recruit Brittany and thought to herself, I will recruit her and then we can throw her to the wolves?
I told you I thought that's what she was going to do.
But she never tried.
Yeah.
No, but like somewhere before she was, because she wanted to recruit Brittany, she'd already been thinking
long
of
ago,
it, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the evil genius of it is if she
She's gonna
recruits
get a
her and she
revenge.
screws her, like there's a poison pill that Brittany gets taken out, which is exactly what happens. And if you don't go with me, you're going to go too.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we've never had this happen before, but we need to pause a second time for a commercial break.
Time?
7 more seconds. Count them.
All right, let's just get that periodic table slid back under the desk. We're good.
No peeking. No
we
cheating.
did it.
The one thing I wanted to say was, we were talking about Bob Drag Queen a little bit ago, was how freaking jealous he got because Boston Rob and Dylan are buds.
No, that was Bob.
That wasn't
Harper.
Bob. That was Bob, not the drag queen.
That was
Bobby.
Bob Harper.
Was it? Oh,
Bobby.
sorry. It was going so fast and furious there.
Oh,
for a
Bob
second.
Bob Harper has a big chubby for Dylan. There's no doubt.
He wants to be one of the Bambis. He wants to be one of the Bambis. He wanted
David's
Dylan
on
to
a
pick him
second
up at
drink.
the airport.
Hey, I have dropped the F-bomb once tonight. I was on a roll last
I tried
night.
to warn everybody
Bob-
there would be drinks.
Okay, so this was a fantastic season with so many great people in it. But when they did the reunion, there were a couple people I'd forgotten had been on the show. Bob Harper
Well,
was
me
one of
too.
them. I was like, oh, that's right. We did have another Bob. I forgot.
Let's talk about Tom Sandoval, shall we?
Yeah.
Tom
Must we?
Sandoval wanted to remind everybody that he was singing the songs, that he was great at this game, and also that he too
People
has
didn't hate him
dressed in
anymore.
drag before.
Yes, he was
Did you
right.
catch that little slide? Like, hey, it's actually like there's a lot more to it.
Yeah. I'm down.
Tom,
I understand. I understand.
sweet
the,
Tom. There's
I
something
know
about
all the
Carolyn being
struggle,
like,
Bob.
there's something about Carolyn being very aware of herself that if she wasn't the traitor, she's like, I would just be hanging out with Tom.
Yeah.
And did anyone else think, maybe this is not appropriate, but I'm just going to say it. Did anybody else think, Carolyn, you might have wanted to wear straps?
She's very busty.
I didn't think that
Here's
at
the deal.
all. I was like,
Here's
I
the
want
deal.
to meet her.
Here's the deal.
I think she probably had double-sided tape rocking pretty good though.
Probably,
like the
yeah.
good
And
kind,
honestly,
the high quality.
In all honesty, when you are endowed such as Caroline, it may look like it's about ready to fall out, but there's still so much more you don't see that is keeping everything anchored.
Yep.
Well,
I mean-
to her credit, though, she was so much herself. I don't think I've ever seen anyone go in for like the adjust and move and do like she did it several times.
She does it all
That's
the time.
what women do in real life.
But she's so cute whenever I see her like in interviews and stuff, no matter what she's wearing, she is like a kid in their church Sunday best, like just fidgeting in the dress up.
Yeah, I want my sweatpants, please.
Yeah, and it's like, it's so funny because it's like she always looks so freaking fantastic, but she gets home and she's like,
okay, Caroline, if you ever watch this is what you need to do from now on when you're on TV and you feel like you have that energy. You need to get yourself one of those spinning rings, because then you can just sit there and fidget all you want, and no one has to. I get you, girl. I get you.
No one has to know that your pantyhose are riding up your butt.
Right. You don't have
to
pick
all the dudes are fine with you adjusting. Adjust. We're good with it. We understand. We see you.
I agree with David. I want her to be authentic.
Keep adjusting.
Yeah. Guys, come on. Breasts are beautiful. Nobody doesn't like breasts.
It's true. Everybody likes them. It's not just guys. We're all like, wow, that is neat.
I'm not gonna lie. If I see a guy who has breasts, I'm a little like impressed then too. Like,
yeah, if you're impressed, we're impressed.
Have them, enjoy them, touch them. It's fine.
It's like the cold dogs outside.
Hey, I don't want to be controversial, but I'm just going to let you know this podcast and this live stream is pro breast, and we're not afraid to say it. Okay, we are not afraid.
Like Bob the Drag Queen's breasts, I'm into it.
All of it. We are pro breast.
We love them all. We love them all. Now,
I'm going to tell you. Even if you have 4.
This really does segue into my.
Oh, Dennis does make a point about Caroline's necklace was provocative.
Yes. Yep.
It really was.
Yeah.
Because it was just making your eye
slid right down all the way into cleavage. It was like a line that begged you to watch.
Yes, it was an intelligent decision.
David, guess what? That was on purpose. She totally planned that.
I know, but it doesn't matter. Guys know when we're being manipulated, but we love it.
Okay, but hold on, guys.
What's better? That or the side pony?
Oh, the side pony for sure. Even close.
For that side, yeah.
I almost came in with a side pony today.
All of this.
I would do a side pony if I had hair.
Jamie, you've lost control.
I've lost control, but listen, all of this that we're talking about is segues into my actual favorite moment of the entire reunion.
Not boobs.
And that is when Nikki and Chriselle are talking, and Chriselle tells Nikki, like, I just need you to get me into the ring and just knock me around a little bit. And she was like, I think I need that. And then he's like, me too. And then Gabby goes, me 3.
Yeah, that was the other Gabby quote.
The best of that entire hour.
I must have blacked out from it. I don't even remember that part.
I think while we're sharing our last thoughts of the reunion, I want to say my favorite was asking Dylan if Zach had heard about Bob the Drag Queen's burn. And instead of saying something normal, he said, yes, he did. And he said, maybe you should check out Baywatch. You'd probably like it. Which everybody knows Baywatch is not Zac Efron's best movie.
No, it's
not even close.
But his body looks very good in it.
It was if that was either Dylan coming up with it in the moment or Zach actually said that, that is a great response.
I did love when they said to Dylan, how does your brother like being known as Dylan Efron's brother?
Yeah,
I that was awesome because that was due, right?
Yeah.
Hey, David. His name is Zach, and he is having a good career.
He's actually doing really good right now. Oh my gosh! Yeah, it was fun. It was a little bit cuckoo and a little bit crazy.
I miss these guys. Honestly.
I really loved this cast.
I can't see how the next season could ever hit like this one. But you know what I think they should probably do is they should probably do half famous people and half not.
Oh,
I love it.
That would be interesting.
Where did you get that idea from?
Oh, I'm sure we've done it on Survivor, and
I'm pretty sure.
I think it came from
I'm
Christy.
pretty sure that they do it on the UK version of Traitors.
Yes.
Oh, I've not watched the UK version.
And Christy
watched,
going, we should do that here.
Oh, I watch all of them. I'm already watching season 3, and I don't know anybody on
the Australian version, but I had a little John Daniels, and I fell asleep. So
it's so good. It's so good because you have no bias for any of them. And it's interesting. And I think mixing celebrities with people that they don't know anything about would throw them too. And it could create an interesting dynamic.
Well, and some of the best seasons, Brian, in reality TV is when they take a bunch of veterans and put them in with newbies, and some newbie rises out of nowhere to like shock the veterans. That's always a good year.
That's kind of what happened with Dylan in its own way. Like,
kind of, yes.
You know, he's not a gamer. He's been on a reality show, but it's really just about him. And, you know, look at him.
Well, he'll be on more now.
Yeah. I thought he gave a great answer where he said that the thing he liked is that he came there with all these great gamers that he'd watched and seen and realized he could like do that.
He could do it.
That he could do it.
You know what? He learned because he wasn't doing it at the get-go, but over the course of the game, he learned quite a bit. He was a quick learner. So maybe he should go on Survivor now.
A question for the ladies. Caroline on Australian Survivor, yay or nay?
Go for it if she wants.
I mean, a much more brutal game, right?
I think she should be on all the shows.
I think she would be. I think she'd be awesome on AU Survivor.
She'd be terrible, terrible, terrible in the challenges. Because here's something for you, Brian. She's terrible in the challenges.
She's kind of klutzy. Like not coordinated.
This is one of my favorite Carolyn moments on television. There was a competition on Survivor, and you had to like throw this thing up. There was like a pole, and you had to get this ring around the hook or whatever. And she kept trying to throw this thing up and land
the little.
And her way to solve what was happening, because she was not getting it. It was terrible. She took off her damn pants. Like that was going to make it better.
It's like when you're lost in the car and you turn the radio down to find
Caroline,
that just means you're old.
But she's not a great physical threat.
But she was like, I'm having a hard time. I need more movement in my arms. Let me take my pants off.
Yeah. But you know what, Dylan,
And we applaud that as men. We applaud that thinking.
Yeah.
We all liked it. It was still hilarious. So.
Oh, another thing that came up when Danielle said that she didn't really know Caroline that much when they came on the show. Didn't she make comment that she had like looked her up and didn't know didn't Danielle admit that she didn't know of her?
If she had said that or not.
Maybe I blacked out while I was watching.
Well, the final Carolyn thing I would add is when they had the exchange, Carolyn and Danielle, who defended her? Gabby. Gabby said what we said, that it's one thing to criticize gameplay, but it's another thing to do the other. But I thought to give flowers to Danielle, she made it far.
Yep.
We didn't like the way she did a lot of stuff, but I liked that there was messiness, but it didn't devolve totally. I mean, obviously the messiest thing was Dorinda and Bob the drag queen, where it was just a yell-a-thon. But I mean, let's be honest.
That was super weird, but okay.
Bob the drag queen got the most screen time of anybody. He was not going to be denied.
Yeah.
At the reunion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, when you have that kind of amazing makeup on, you get all the screen time you want.
Dorinda, though, was super weird when she was like so offended that she was like, well, I didn't know who you were. Well, then why do you care if I knew who you were?
This is weird.
Okay, but the way Bob the drag queen said it was definitely a blow off. It was like, I didn't even know who she was.
No, what you're dealing with.
Like she was lesser than.
What you're dealing with is two people who are on the top of the diva list. You got two divas going at it, because we were kind of robbed a little bit having her cut so early.
Mm-hmm.
Because from every interview I've ever seen, this is her. She would have had those faithfuls round up. She would have been like slamming that hand down on the round table. Like,
so they shouldn't have murdered her. They should have set her up to vote her out, because people would have thought that was traitorous behavior, that she was
so what I'm hearing is she would have been really good friends with Tom Sandoval.
Yes, the best. The best friends.
Someplace tonight, wherever Dolores goes when she's not on the show, she's voting for Tom right now. She's like writing Tom's name on a blackboard. And like her significant other is like, cut it out, it's over.
That jerk, I just know it. He has my name in his mouth. I'm writing him down.
That would be the interesting thing. Like, at this point now, does she like Tom? Is she okay with Tom? They didn't ask. Like, what was your reason for thinking Tom? Like, but you're okay with him now, right? You know that was all not real, right?
You listen.
You don't have to call your cousin in sanitation. He's Tom's spy.
Tom's done something to get under everybody's skin, and I think that's where he's gonna stay. Except for Carolyn, who's like, I like this guy.
Because here's the thing. I think he probably is a little annoying, probably a little too much, the Tom Sandoval. But I don't think it's mean-spirited.
Maybe a little unself-aware.
And a little awkward, like
a lack of EQ, if you will.
And like read the room sometimes. But I don't think anything he does is like necessarily mean-spirited. Do you know what I mean? So he's not a bad dude. He's just an awkward, weird dude, which that's fine.
He's a little doofusy who happens to have a really pretty face, so it pushed him a little farther than your regular doofus, and so he thinks he's king of Doofus Mountain.
And what about Sam trying to flirt with Brittany a little bit?
Yes.
He's got her headband. Hey, by the way, you spell your name the same way as my ex-wife. Like, I don't know. Don't do that.
But even there, he seemed chill.
Yes,
he was very chill, but it was a little flirty, was it not?
Oh yeah,
it was a little flirty.
And like Brittany looked awesome. I just want to put that out there. She looked so pretty in that gown. I mean, that's one of the best things about Traitors is that, like, fine, I'll go blow a bunch of money on this amazing wardrobe that I'll never wear again when I go to Costco. But damn if I don't look good right now. Like, that's so fun that they just, some of them I think they look that good all the time, but
well, they probably dressed them. They didn't have to buy that. It was like probably stuff that they had. But
I'm going to disagree, because I can't imagine why anybody would put those silly hats in Danielle's wardrobe.
Oh yes, I was talking about reunion show only.
Oh, okay, yes.
Sorry. Dude.
Oh, can we talk about Danielle's award?
Oh wait, hold on.
Go ahead, Christy. You finish.
Ian and her, like, she was so like snappy on everything and like walking around, and then like she literally thought she was the funniest person there, and they were like, really? And she's like, did I make you laugh? Raise your hand if I made you laugh. And it's like, what are they supposed to do? Like,
most of them raise their hands.
What's his name that's there? He did say he's like, she's so funny. Okay, like, is this what you just feed her to like make her not hate you, or is she?
She's good looking enough. I'd laugh on Princess.
She went out like third episode or something ish. Does that sound about right? Then. Okay, so like this is not the time for you to come in and prove why all the stuff we didn't get to see about you in those 3 episodes. And that's what it felt like with Dorinda. That's what it felt like with her.
I think with her, she was auditioning for future opportunities in that moment. And David wants to talk about the award and
Danielle's award.
Yes, Danielle's award ceremony. And of course he immediately mutes his camera because he's probably looking at pictures of Ion and Carolyn
and
Ivar
their dresses.
And, hey David, if you can hear me, we've learned tonight with Lord Ivar, you got a shot, bud. You got a shot.
You
got a shot.
I didn't even know.
Stand in line, especially on the airplane, and help people off.
I thought
a shot with Gabby, but maybe a shot with Ivar.
I thought the award with Danielle was a nice way to make fun of how she acted that wasn't too mean.
Wasn't mean. Mm-hmm.
And I thought the cast reacted appropriately.
Like they couldn't have the reunion show without talking about it.
Right.
And this is a way of doing this recap of, girl, you were kind of messy and weird and like
and she put messy in her bio online.
Yeah.
Lots of extra. I did like that she was forced to watch it.
Yes.
And Brian, I heard all what you had to say, and I said, sometimes you got to pull a tube in, man. This has been a long podcast.
He's been doing the best he can.
Pulling a tube in.
Well, guys, I think we're at that point that we are gonna have to bid each other a farewell.
We are.
What are we doing?
We are, Jamie. We're at that point, and as the newcomer, I'm invoking newcomer rights.
All right.
And I'm going to award the first annual Fergies. And,
wow.
And I'm going to tell you right now, the award for subservience to the monarchy and destruction of female alliances goes to David.
Yeah, for like the seventh in a row. Woo!
As it should.
David.
Okay. The award for best eye twinkle and Boston Rob defender goes to Christy.
You guys, I realize.
Brian, I have convinced her she's a Boston Rob
this
fan.
This is the year where I'm no longer in denial. It was like enough evidence was there. It was like I never would have thought I was a fan, but I'm like.
But you are now a fan.
I named her Paramount Plus her Paramount Plus profile B Rob fan.
And the final award, and this one only has a little bit of humor in it, but not a lot. And that is, we have a queen who sets this up and keeps us on task. And you can tell by the way we're hard to keep on task, okay? But the best taskmaster herder of cats goes to Jamie.
Huzzah! Thank you. It is a joy. It's a joy to keep you on track.
I mean, we have fun, so.
We do have fun.
Yeah, that's a fun.
Well,
and the Fergie for Rookie of the Year
yes,
goes to Brian.
Man of the hat and best groundskeeper one podcast could ever have.
Honestly, it's been super cool to watch this season with all of you guys. I'm really glad we did this. It was lots.
It's been fun to watch Brian because he doesn't really have the history on the players, and he's offered a different perspective than we have.
Lots of fresh perspective,
which is very cool.
Yeah,
and it's good to know that at least one of us does not have the tolerance for nonsense. We've got a few things we need to remember that even if they do find themselves as being big stars in their own worlds, Brian's not afraid to knock him down a little bit and go, nah, I don't care who you are, what you did before this. This is right now, baby.
I mean, he is the self-proclaimed best podcaster, so I mean, we wouldn't expect anything less,
The best.
I mean, frankly, I was listening to some of Brian's other work on a certain science fiction show from the 50s and 60s, and I gotta say, I think he has a point.
The best.
That's all I'm saying.
Listen, we don't plug anything else here.
Oh yeah, we do.
Oh well, just hold on to
your. You better hold on to your sundress, girl.
Hold on, sister, because we're getting in those roadsters, and baby, you're driving.
As we wrap up, I want to say that I'm gifting myself the podcaster most likely to use the F word and get us demonetized, but was warned early award.
Indeed.
Well, so today I'm minding my own business at work, right? And my phone starts to blow up, and it's Brian going, "How come you can use the F word and I can't?"
Oh, I was listening to the Survivor cast,
and apparently I was pretty bad last night on AU Survivor. And so, if anyone's listening, I dropped several F-bombs. I feel bad about it.
Was it several?
Oh, it was at least 5 because I was angry.
Yeah.
I didn't. Okay.
I thought that was what the rant was going to be about.
The law is that Sometimes David doesn't follow the rules, and we just have to accept that about him.
Because he's a member of the House of Lords.
I was fired up last night
the
because
rules
it
do
was
not apply
great.
to him.
He was fired up. Listen, guys, here's the thing. If you enjoyed this season of coverage, I'm going to encourage you, just join us on our coverage of the Australian Survivor, tally the votes. You can hit like and subscribe, and then you can get all the updates as they roll in. You can also listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcasts, and find us on the Jay and Jack's Whole Enchilada feed alongside Survivor with Jamie, Jack, and Colleen, the broadcast, the Ramblecast, the Amazing Race with Crazy Hank himself, Jack, and Cindy. We would like to give a shout out to the Jay and Jack patrons, and especially those who have contributed at a certain level, which is Eckhart Richter, Maggie the Magnificent, Joanne with the Plan, and the Creepy Poopy Head Mailman. And if you would like to be a patron, go to patreon.com/JayandJack. Also, a thank you to Crazy Hank, because he tolerates us, and he is hosting us on this channel. Our deepest gratitude to our podcast angel, Colleen, who has, without fail, delivered us from podcast purgatory every Saturday morning. She gets up there.
Sometimes super late too.
Middle of the night, she's busy working.
Colleen, get some sleep, sweetheart.
Sometimes they come out at we finish at midnight. They come out at 12:48.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
no.
Not enough coffee.
We have so much appreciation for all that you do, Colleen, all that Crazy Hank has done to make this possible for us. Brian, when we're in the off season of Traitors, where can we find you?
I'm doing currently the Severance cast on the Serious TV Drama podcast network, and
guys,
also,
it's pretty good. I really like it a lot.
Well, thank you. We'll be
fan.
recording one tomorrow, and also Jamie, myself, and a film professor are all tagging in to help Scott re-watch The Twilight Zone from the beginning, and it's been a really cool experience. So that's on there as well as a host of other things. So if you want to check me out, that's where I am. And I want to say thank you to the three of you for welcoming me. Thank you for the fans. I've really enjoyed this, and doggone it, I'm going to miss it.
Yes, here.
And I'd just like to throw in, I've been listening to the Twilight Zone podcast, and I have to say it's podcast gold. And I say that without joking or without being at all ironic. I mean, it is. I mean it legitimately. Wow. It's great stuff. And
we are feeling the love here tonight, y'all.
No. I love this podcast, and
it's good.
Like 3 of the 4 people on it annoy the crap out of me, but because the other one I don't know. But I have to say, this podcast just works. So if you're at all a fan of the Twilight Zone, I encourage you. It's really good.
That's really great. Christy, do you have any final words before we head on out?
Hey, mates.
Oh, you finally nailed it, David.
Wow, you two. Your shenanigans, anyway.
I didn't know it was going to happen. I swear to God.
Just like when I said that originally, I didn't know I was going to say
it. I didn't know it was coming out.
It just popped out of my mouth. Oh,
well. I've learned one thing, Christy, that right before I leave, I've learned you can turn David the color of Alan's velour suit tonight. So that's impressive.
That makes him laugh all the time. I am glad.
I've been trying to hit that moment for weeks.
You got it. It finally happened. I'm so happy for you. Well, everybody.
All right.
Adieu. Parting is such sweet sorrow. We'll see you next week.
Welcome to the castle.